Hey, what's up, YouTube? Hope everyone's having a great day or night wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in for another podcast here at Socially Anime. I'm Onix. With me, as always, is Goke and Kuma. You guys already know what's up with that. Check out last week's podcast if you haven't already. Link will be below in the description. Smash the like, share, subscribe button for us. Great way to support us. Also, tell us your opinions in the comments below. In this podcast, we will be covering JuJuTsu Kaisen, Season 1, Episode 3 and 4, socially anime style in-depth spoiler review. If you haven't watched Season 1, Episode 3 and 4, we do recommend you watching it and then coming back to our video. Everyone, Goke, Kuma, Deiwa, Hajimashou!
Last podcast, we did go over episodes 1 and 2 of the wonderful anime JuJuTsu Kaisen. Episode 2, we ended on the idea that Yuji had just made his way and been accepted into the JuJuTsu Tech School. We ended with a meeting of the forces, the sensei, the Gojuo sensei, talking to his students, Fushiguro, and also Yuji saying, we got to go pick up our third student. Fast forward to the ending of episode 2. We have a female on the train heading to Tokyo. And we're going to pick up season 1, episode 3, named Girl of Steel at this point. Right off the bat, we have our 3 gentlemen, as I previously mentioned, that are heading straight to Tokyo to meet student number 3, who, if you can't figure it out by now, is this mysterious female on the train. Okay, stated last podcast, she doesn't like the country. She doesn't like it, but she's excited to come to Tokyo. At this point, she is pulling in, and something magical, in my opinion, hits me right at the beginning. She gets off the train in Tokyo, and she starts to think, and she's talking about Saori-chan, saying, I'm here. Like, I finally made it. I made it to the top. I made it to the big. Who do you know, Mr. Onix? Who is Saori-chan? What is this arrival? Can you walk me through it?
Yeah, I honestly didn't really think too much of that. I guess it's just some girl from her past, right?
I thought so. Yeah, something. Maybe a cousin. I don't know. I don't know who this person is. Goke, did you get a feeling like that was like coming home or something?
Apparently, whoever this Saori-chan is, she might be in the city of Tokyo. But yeah, and she meets everybody.
Honestly, the only thing that really caught me was, Yuji was in a school uniform, and man, those school uniforms are super lame. Like, super lame, dude.
They're pretty plain Jane. Goke, what do you think, man? Would you wear a uniform like that?
Every day.
Every day? Wow, I didn't think you'd say that. You probably say I gotta get custom fitted. I gotta make sure that you can see my thigh muscles.
Come on, every day, man. I'd want that red one.
Oh, the red one. That's actually where I was going with it. Okay, so Onix, thank you for the lead in on that. So we've got Fushiguro, kind of plain Jane. I mean, it's like a navy blue, pearl dark color-ish thing. Really no highlighting features at all. But your boy Yuji, he has it. And as Gojuo sensei walks up, he's like, oh, okay, you got your custom uniform already. Nice. And he's like, oh, you can customize them? He said, yeah, yours has a hood. And not only does it have a hood, but Gojuo sensei himself chose it. Why?
No clue.
No clue.
How would I ever know? Yeah, I don't know.
No?
Maybe there's something behind it. Maybe that's a way of identifying him as having a demon inside of him for other teachers, other schools. Because there's only one other school in Japan or in Tokyo. I don't remember that JuJuTsu school. So maybe that's an identifier of people like that. That's just my guess. I have no idea. What do you think, Kuma?
Well, I think it's, like Onyx said, I think the other ones are boring, but I actually could feel Yuji's, it has the red accents, even his sneakers are red. So I was feeling it. I was like, oh, okay, I could wear that. The other ones that are worn by Gojo sensei and also Fushiguro, I'm like, they're really not doing it for me. But maybe there's a reason for that. I don't know. Maybe that's something we can see later. So at this point, we have the coming of all the students. So this is, and you know what? You guys are welcome. I'm going to jump in. I see this as a Naruto reference. Right now you have, and you know, yeah, I'm stealing it a little bit from Onix, who mentioned it last episode, but this is not even a joke. When I saw everyone come together, you've got Gojo Sensei, you've got Itadori Yuji, you've got Fushiguro, and then you've got the new chick, and her name is Kujisaki Nobara. We're gonna go with Nobara. I think that's the easier way to say it, or whatever, how you want to say it. But now we've got everybody together. You've got your token female. You've got your broody dude who doesn't really, he's never interested. He's like, whatever, but he's strong. You know, Fushiguro, I think, is that guy. And then we've got Yuji, and he's kind of more of the jokester. He's kind of clowny. He's not stupid. I don't feel like I've ever felt that he was portrayed stupid at all. But I definitely would say that he's portrayed as funnier maybe than the other characters. Goke, what did you think, man, when you had this coming of all four characters together?
Yeah, man, I totally thought that of Naruto, and it doesn't help that Gojo Sensei looks like Kakashi Sensei. That doesn't help at all. It doesn't help at all. But yeah, man, no. So we learn about this girl Nobara, and the title of the episode is called Girl of Steel, and she comes in and she is just like judgmental as anything. She looked at Fushiguro and she's like, oh, I can't stand high and mighty dudes. And yet she's looking down on these guys. So she's such a reject. And then she says Yuji looks like a potato and he looks like he's boogers. Like, this girl is ruthless. She's got a bad attitude.
I'm stealing it from you because yes, Nobara became my favorite character in the span of just exactly what you said. Literally, she looks at Yuji and she's like, he looks like a potato. He's definitely the type that ate his own boogers as a kid. I was rolling on the floor. Then she looks at Fushiguro and she's like, and only a name here? I can't stand high and mighty dudes. I bet he likes setting oil slicked gulls on fire. I'm like, what the hell? I was cracked. And she even questions the blindfold that Gojo Sensei is wearing. She's like, what's with the blindfold? You know, she doesn't say it out loud, but she thinks it. So, oh man, I fell in love with her character immediately. At this point, all four of the first year members have met up together. You've got the sensei, you've got Gojo Sensei, who is obviously the leader, the teacher, you know, the guiding light out of the trio of students that he has. He basically grants the wishes and dreams of two of his students. And he's talking about, well, I'm going to take you on a tour of Tokyo. And they're going crazy. Oh, we're going to go here. We're going to go there. Da, da, da. They're arguing about where they're going to go. And this dude pulls out of the rabbit hat. He's like, we're going to the Roppongi district. I don't know anything about the Roppongi district. Have either of you been there in real life? Is this like a famous place or something in Japan?
You know, I'm just going to start off and say, of course, out of all the districts, out of everywhere they go in Tokyo, it's Roppongi. Like, of course, man. They couldn't.
What is it? I don't even know, dude. What is Roppongi? I don't know.
Roppongi is known for nightlife, super high nightlife. It's considered the most dangerous district in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, a funny story was I never personally had any problems when I was around Roppongi, but I did end up at a bar without realizing it, that it was a favorite hangout spot for the Yakuza, which about the same time I realized it, a group of them came out the back and stared me down. Let me clarify this, because this is Japan we're talking about. When I say most dangerous, I'm not talking about someone getting shot or someone getting shanked. Like, it's mostly dangerous in the sense of like foreigners getting scammed off of like credit card getting maxed out or all of your cash getting sold. Basically, it's just a lot of these shady shops that they're trying to pull you into these nightclubs or these bars, and then they're going to try and get you too drunk or put something in your drink to max out your credit card if you carry a credit card or take all of your cash. That's the danger we're talking about here. This is Japan. Come on now, guys.
So these sound like white collar crimes rather than violent, beat you up, drag you in the corner, you know, slit your throat kind of crimes.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, interesting. All right. Well, hey, that's actually a great lead into what actually happens in the show, because they go to the Roppongi district and they're so excited. Then they get there and oh, come on, man, you brought us this dilapidated building. It's got this weird curse aura oozing out of it. It's right next to a cemetery. Come on, Teach. Why you doing this to us, man?
Yeah, that was hilarious. They were like,
Yeah.
"You stupid liar!" Da, 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 da. That was so funny, just because they were so excited. And then we got to see that Nobara. She went straight from like being super mean to everybody to being so happy, back to being like, "You liar, you idiot, like, you liar." Yeah, he totally fooled them. That was hilarious.
I piggyback on that, man. I love it because she's so agitated that as he's trying to explain why they're there, you've got Nobara in the background, and she's thinking in her mind, she's like, who does he think is responsible for the rice he gets to eat? Oh, I love her character. I'm not gonna lie, she's automatically my favorite just because of her funny comedic nature. I love her character. So we talked about, this quote unquote like Naruto group, realizing, wait a second, we're not really on this, amazing tour of the Roppongi district. We're actually working. All right. So, the demeanor changes again. At this point, you've got Gojo Sensei that's basically explaining more and more, not only to his team, but us as viewers, what constitutes curses, and states basically that now that we're in a highly populated area like Tokyo, the way that the curses are created, it really is built from people. So essentially what I picked up from that is the more people you have, the more emotions you have, the more doubt, the more fear, the more things that will basically power up curses. So you're going to start to run into higher grades at this point, more dangerous curses as you go forward. So your boy Fushiguro is still kind of recovering. He doesn't visibly look terrible, but I mean, I'm sure it takes a lot out for these battles and whatnot. So it's determined right off the bat, he's going to sit this one out. And instead they're sending in the two noobs. At this point, Gojo Sensei hands over something to your boy, Yuji. Goke, what did you think about that?
I had the same reaction Yuji had when he first looked at it, with his mouth was like super wide open. Dude, this thing looks like a cleaver. It almost looks like a knife that you'd use in the kitchen, to be honest, to cut meat,
Yeah.
But dude, it looks mad dope. So the slaughter demon is a tool that is embedded with cursed energy. And the reason why he's having it, why he gave it to him, I guess, is so that he can kill cursed things, because he's like, yo, you're not allowed to transform into Sukuna during this fight, because if you do, all the demons and all the curses that are around are gonna like go away or something like that. I think it was, or either way,
or even be attracted. Yeah,
or even be attracted. So either way, he's not allowed to do that. So he doesn't know how to use jujutsu. If you use jujutsu, you're using the cursed energy, and through that is the only way that you can defeat these monsters, these curses. So that's why he gives him the knife. And this joint looks dope, man. Like, again, it's super huge. His mouth is super wide open, and yeah, it's dope. But again, the girl Nobara, she's like, oh, this is lame, and she just like looks at him in disgust and just starts walking away. That girl's so, I don't know, she's got a bad attitude, but I figure there's some type of backstory behind her, like a super, super crazy backstory. But that knife that he gives him is dope. And I'm ready. I'm like, all right, that's dope. Let's see him use it.
I couldn't have explained it better myself. And to piggyback on what you're saying, technically, if you think back to even episode 1 and 2, I know we're not far into this series yet. We're only in episode 3, but he's never technically killed a curse before. The only curse he technically defeated was when he transformed and was, taken over by Sukuna. So you're completely right. How can he didn't really defeat a curse?
Yeah, he hasn't defeated the curse. It was Sukuna.
So It makes total sense that he has to have this weapon. And that just basically speaks even more leaps and bounds to the intellect of Gojo Sensei. He knows this. And as you mentioned, Goke, going in, he's like, yo, hey, by the way, homie, you can't turn into Sukuna. Like, that's not okay. And that's, in that moment, that becomes more important than even taking out the curse that's there. You're thinking they're going in, he's going to give them some some advice like, hey, do this with this curse. No, the most important thing, the last thing he says to him on the way in is like, by the way, don't turn into Sukuna. Like, that would be the worst, in my opinion. So that was really, really big. You talked about Nobara's like attitude towards him. And that is, man, it's extremely evident as they go in, because not only are they not vibing, she's literally like, go away, split up. Like, you start at the bottom, work your way up. I'll start at the top, I'll work my way down. I don't really want to work with you. And so you're right, they're not vibing, and that's really clear. And don't forget, Nobara is a woman of steel, you know? That's evident. It's showing at this point. So now you have them splitting up, and this is where you have your first battle. And we get a chance to see, when I say your first battle, the first battle with Slaughter Demon and his new weapon. And so we have your boy Yuji that runs into a curse in the bottom floor. And there's a battle there. Onix, what did you think about that skirmish right there where he's using his new weapon, the Slaughter Demon?
Yeah, he definitely became a master of knife fighting in a matter of seconds.
Yeah,
like
I got
dude
no
probably
problem. I'm not
never,
gonna say nothing yet.
he was a straight normal high school kid. They probably didn't know like how to fight at all, and he got the knife, and now he's a master with it. Of course, he runs into the first, this first curse, and he takes care of business right off the bat. No sweat at all.
Yes. Oh man, Goke, you know me pretty well, man. Were you all right with that? The knife skills, the Slaughter Demon, how he took out the demon. What'd you think?
Nah, man, it was dope, dude. The way the first move that he had when he slid under him and cut his abdomen, dude, it was so dope. And then he flipped over and he jumped on top of him. He's like, oh yeah, I could really move on this dude. He puts it in his head and he pulls it out and all the purple blood spills everywhere. Dude, it was so dope. And you know what? Or whatever. There was a bunch of controversy with Star Wars calling Rey Mary Sue. Okay, she's automatically good at everything. But
yes,
they already said that he was a beast when it comes to physical things. So I'm not getting this vibe off of him, because in episode 1, they were like, okay, he was really dope in middle school.
The West Tiger.
Yeah, he was a Tiger of a West Middle School. The track coach forges the kid's signature to get him on the track team. So the kid is automatically good at physical stuff. So I'm not getting these vibes of, oh, how does he already know how to use a knife and da 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 da. He says that he knows how to fight, and he says that he's strong, and his granddad said that he's strong. So anyone who doesn't agree with me, hit me up in the comments section at me if you think that his fighting skills are unjustified.
I thought you were gonna say anybody who disagrees with me, catch me outside.
Yeah, no.
Meet me in the parking lot. Hey, Goke, I love you to death, man, but I agree with Onix. You already know how I am. You know me for so many years, dude. I need a better explanation. I need it. And I'm not saying they don't have it. If anything, Onix and Goke have given me insight in episodes 1 and 2, and even this one, that state there's a lot of potentiality that ties into things that are from before, because we don't know this character's childhood. We don't know what came before, literally 2 days before this event. So we know that, yes, he's adept. I also agree with Onix that like him jumping through the 4th floor window and him just automatically having martial arts skills, and then he's good with a blade all of a sudden. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, no. Like, you're gonna have to really get me to understand how he got that prowess, because no, I don't think anybody can pick up a knife and just be that good with it. But I'm gonna stay hovering in the neutrals, because they still have a chance to give me some explanation to win me over. But right now I'm with Onix. I'm not feeling it. I'm like, where did this dude learn this, So good insight on that. As we look at this first battle with his Slaughter Demon, blade. And now we're going to switch over to Nobara. And Nobara is in the top floor now, and she comes across the mannequins. And I think it shows her skill right off the bat, too, because she knows. She's like, come on out, Curse. Like, come on. I know you're there. Like, I know you're the one in the middle. She's calling it out. She's so confident. She's not scared at all. She's not worried. And then her weapons come out. A hammer and nails. Onix, what did you think about her weapon? The hammer and the nails.
Daisuke, man, I love that shit, dude.
Oh,
I
you
never
love it.
saw hammers and nails before used as like a lethal weapon, especially from like an anime that I can recall off my memory right off the bat. Like, dude, I thought that was original. That's something new, something fresh. I loved it, man. The hammer and nails, man. It goes well with her personality.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Okay, Goke, do you agree? You hated it? What'd you think?
I thought it was super unique. Again, I've never seen that before, so I'll go off of him. Yeah, man, I thought it was pretty dope. I'd never seen anything like that.
Onyx, I give you credit, man. I didn't think of that. I didn't like it initially, but when you pointed out unique, it is. And like you're saying, it's kind of hard to find that in any other anime, especially right off the top of my head. So, all right, you have changed my mind, sir. I now like her weapons. I hadn't really thought of it that way. So she gets into her fight with the curse in the mannequin, and the mannequin basically it's the manifestation of what Gojo Sensei has been teaching them. It really catches Nobara off guard. And why? It's not necessarily because the curse is strong, but rather because the curse is clever. The curse picks up this random kid, happens to hide behind boxes. Where are your parents at, kid? Come on. That is another thing I'm criticizing. How did this little kid get here? How is he in the fourth story of a torn down building next to? Okay, I'm criticizing a lot, but you know, I'll go with it for now, but I'm not gonna lie. That I was like, I thought initially the kid was a manifestation of the curse. I thought he was supposed to be a trick to, you know, catch Nobara off guard and then take her out, which obviously I was wrong, because you very quickly find out he is actually a kid and is actually in danger. So back to what I was talking about with this new intelligence, even though this curse is not that strong, it is holding the boy hostage so that Nobara is now in a scenario where she kind of doesn't see any way out. She's like, either I survive and the kid dies, or we both die. Kind of a lose-lose scenario. Goke, did you feel like there was any other way out, or was that really lose-lose, and how did that go through?
Yeah, I mean, legit, there's no other way. It's either they both die or the kid dies and she just runs away. That's it. That's it. And as far as the kid being there, that made sense to me, because we already learned before that cursed energy is at schools. So maybe the cursed thing kidnapped the kid. So that actually made sense to me. But no, I mean, yeah, she didn't have a choice. But I'm glad it showed us that she isn't there just to be a model in Tokyo. Like, she actually does care about people. So she put down her weapons and was like, okay, my hands are up, I'm done. But she's actually freaked out. She's like, how the heck is this curse able to think? And this goes back to the curses that she's used to dealing with in the countryside. Like you said earlier, the more populated an area is, the higher grade the curse is. That means these demons, or these curses, aka demons, whatever, that she's going to be dealing with from here on out are different from the one that she is. So that's why she's like, how is this thing able to have a hostage? Like, this doesn't even make sense. So, I mean, Gojo Sensei this is her test, essentially. And that's what's up.
It is. And so Onix, you know, literally like last second buzzer beater, your boy Yuji, not only does he come in, he comes in like, bam, oh yeah, the Kool-Aid man coming through the wall. Bam, punches through the wall. And he's like, oh, I kind of missed my punch. But he kind of saves the day, right? He turns that lose-lose situation into a winning situation. Can you walk me through the end of that fight? How did that go? What did you think about this technique, the straw doll technique? Resident.
Yeah,
Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, you know, honestly, I think they love that Kool-Aid man. He's busting through the window, busting through the wall. Like, that's twice where it kind of reminded me of that. Yeah, and also just to, if I could rewind it, just to
Rewind it, sir.
back.
Go ahead.
Like, that kid being there totally made sense to me from a different point of view, just because it's Japan. They raise their kids to be so independent. Dude, there's 4 or 5-year-olds roaming the schools, taking the subway train miles and miles away from the house, running groceries for their parents by themselves. So like the kid just roaming by himself, you know, made sense to me. Like, he probably just roamed down the street. Maybe he got kidnapped when he got close to the building. At first, when I first saw the kid, I was thinking what you're thinking. I thought at first he was a trick. He was a demon that was going to let the girl get her guard down, and then he was going to take out, you know, Kugisaki. But, you know, it actually was like a legit kid. But yeah, going back, you know, to the fight, like, Kugisaki definitely showed more usefulness with the hammer and nails, that she can manipulate like those like voodoo dolls. If you would say, she basically took out a voodoo doll and had the curse, I guess, spirit embodied into this voodoo doll, and then drove the nail and the hammer right through it, busted the curse when the curse tried to escape. The real interesting thing that I took from that too was we found out a lot about the curses. You know, Gojo Sensei said that the curses are based on level of intelligence, not necessarily strengths. So like that was something good to know, because now we can finally get a tier list to categorize the level of strengths of the curses, and they're not even leveled, by strengths. They're categorized by intelligence.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that they feed off of people and their fears and their feelings and everything. So it makes sense, like Goke said, that they would populate areas that are highly populated, like schools, hospitals, cemetery, areas that oftentimes have a lot of emotions cycling through. So they defeat this curse, and now you kind of have this coming together of not rivals but strangers. I think I'd leave it at strangers because they only met a couple hours ago, right? They were clashing a little bit. Yuji and Nobara, they were kind of not really vibing, but she actually at this point, she has they're arguing a little bit before she goes into this flashback, which we're going to talk about next. But I just wanted to tell you guys the statement, because again, I love all of Nobara's statements, man. She cracks me up. And she's fussing with Yuji even after they defeated literally this curse. And she's like, and what have you been eating that lets you punch through a wall with your bare hand? And they're arguing about it. And he's like, what? It's not a reinforced wall. And oh man, I was cracking up. But so after this point, we go into this flashback, and Goke kind of alluded to this at the beginning. When she arrived in Tokyo, you could tell there was something emotional going on inside her. She's talking about Saori-chan. She's talking about bakeries and meeting someone there. And you're like, I don't know who this is or anything. And now we have this flashback, and we get our first glimpse at Saori-chan and who she is. She's not, now correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't perceive her to be family. For me, she was an outsider, like someone that moved in from the city. So she moved in, meaning Nobara had never met her before. And they meet and this is a much older woman. So I think she kind of becomes like an older sister, maybe even like a mother figure to Nobara. And Nobara in this is depicted as a very young girl. And so they really explore this flashback heavily, talking about her connection to Saori-chan. Goke, did you catch anything in this flashback that maybe connected some of these things, like her arrival to Tokyo, wanting to go to Harajuku district, just some of the things that make Nobara tick?
So it kind of reminds me of before I went to Japan, when I would talk to Onix and his family, because they're from there, and they said a lot of things that I was excited about when I went there. So when I first went there, I was like, oh, wow. I was thinking about Onix, like, oh, wow, I'm at the seawall, or like I'm at all these places that you and your sisters and your mom told me about. And yeah, it was totally relatable for me. So her being in Tokyo, coming there, thinking about the person who told her about the place, and made perfect sense. Now going into the flashback, yeah, Saori-chan, she was as kind as a nun. And this is kind of interesting because Nobara's personality is like the polar opposite of how she describes this girl. Right. She's like not patient, kind of has an attitude, looks down on people. But one thing about Saori-chan is that I'm not sure, and like we said, I haven't read the manga or anything. I haven't seen any episodes outside of this, but at the beginning of the opening, is she in the opening? Let us know in the comments below. Is Saori-chan in the opening of this anime? Because I could have sworn there's somebody who looks like her. But yeah, going back to just the flashback itself, so for some reason they kick her out of Nobara's small town because she's a city girl, and they think that she's looking down on them, which she clearly isn't. So again, that goes back to stuff that happens in real life when someone is new or different than you, and you become afraid and you act irrational. It was completely irrational for them to kick out this nice person out of their town. Or so that's my relation to real life. Or maybe she was a JuJuTsu sorcerer and we just don't know. Or maybe she had some type of curse that we don't know about, or maybe she was doing something nefarious that we don't know about. I don't know. I've got my tinfoil hat on, but
I love that you say that, because that is something that I want to point out. We only get to see it from the perspective of Nobara. So Saori-chan could have been a really great role model and very nice to her, but who knows how she might have treated the rest of the people in the city or in the village. And I know they talked about a bridge being broken down. There was some ideas of a highway being built through there. For all I know, she could be the representative that was going to put a highway straight through the village. So we only see it from Nobara's point of view. And so I love that we don't really know everything. We get to see her point of view, and she really obviously has a special place in her heart for Saori-chan. One thing I want to say before we move on to the next part is that she keeps mentioning repeatedly, if I hadn't left, I'd be dead right now. Okay, if you hadn't left, you'd be dead right now. Immediately what popped into my brain, of course, is the theme of the show, curses. I'm thinking, oh, okay, maybe curses showed up and killed everybody. Maybe Saori-chan is dead. Maybe Saori-chan is a curse. Maybe, as Goke said, maybe she is a JuJuTsu sorcerer and died fighting a curse. I have no clue, but she does mention it many a time. If I hadn't left, I would be dead. And I don't know what that means, but I think that's a good little Easter egg or forecast for later. But right now, we have no clue. I don't know what that really meant.
Yeah. And
go ahead, Onix. Yeah, man.
Yeah, just to piggyback what Goke was saying real fast about the flashback. That kind of went back to 2 podcasts ago when we were reviewing Attack on Titan. What we were talking about when I said, that comes back to real life, real human emotions was, the city folks, they were so afraid and so scared of this city girl moving into the town. They didn't know what to think of it. They didn't really know what to do, so they just kind of drove her out. It's just, that real human emotion when we can't understand something and we can't control something. Our next best bet is we have to get rid of it.
Completely agreed, man. People are afraid of things that they don't understand, things that are unknown, and we really hate change, a lot of different things. You guys are spot on that. So we're going to go to the next part, right? So this is the ending of this field test. As you realize, Goke and Onix pointed that out a little bit earlier. It was really a field test to really test out Nobara. How can they pointed out, like, is she crazy enough? That's really what they're testing. They're testing her crazy. Like, is she crazy enough to do the work of a JuJuTsu sorcerer? And she passes with flying colors. At the end of the field test, they're like, yeah, she's crazy. She's crazy like us. We're good. And so that's really great ending to that field test. And it really creates more of a bond between the first years. These are, remember, the only 3 students that make up the whole class of the first year at this one JuJuTsu tech school. Goke did also mention there's a second one. Of course, we don't know what it is. We don't know where it is. We haven't seen it yet. But I'm assuming it'll be somewhere way farther in the series. Now, another thing, because, I got to shout out my girl, Nobara, as they're walking away. So now this is where everything does really come to fruition, right? Gojo Sensei is now actually for real taking them out to actually get dinner. So he's kind of making right on his promise, and earlier he kind of tricked them. Now he's coming fully with it, which is great. And I just love the characters and how they interact with each other. And I can't say that for every anime, but I really love the dynamics between everybody. Fushiguro is kind of like your emo, like, quiet dude, doesn't want to interact a lot. Yuji is kind of your silly, like, super heroic, willing to put up for other people kind of dude. And then Nobara is like your hard-headed, steel, girl of steel, right? And as they're going out, they're arguing over who basically completed that mission, right? And Yuji is like, oh, I don't know why you're just talking about your little straw doll technique, He's like, what about my strength and everything like that? And Nobara just responds and she's like, what do you mean? Your monstrous power from eating weird shit?
yeah.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah. So she calls him out. And it's true.
Hilarious.
He ate some weird shit. And even Gojo Sensei is like, yeah, that was weird. Like, that was nasty that you ate that shit. So
yeah, I'm glad they called that out, because that is disgusting. Like, I'm glad that's not a normal thing even in this anime. That's freaking disgusting, man.
So we move on to the ending of episode 3. And after the group really comes together, we have a switch over. Screen goes black and we start to see white text scrolling across the screen. It starts to appear kind of like reporting. And we're seeing things about a juvenile detention center and some sort of curse and all these things. Goke, walk me through what is this ending?
Yep. So there is like a CSI or whatever those types of shows. So it says July 2018, West Tokyo City, Aishu Juvenile Detention Center, and it's showing the kids in the detention hall look in the sky, and it's like this fetus in the sky, and the report says that 3 first years enter, but 1 dies. So
Dun, dun,
what the
dun.
heck? So we're talking about our 3 students. We're talking about Nobara, Fushiguro, and Yugi. So I'm thinking they're gonna enter and one of them's gonna die the next episode, which is crazy.
I sure hope not. Man, I was wondering if this might have been, I'm like praying, is this a previous incident? Is this a historical event that they're going? Then it said 2018 and I was like, oh, wait a second. This seems really current. I'm scared to death, man. Onix, what did you think about this ending, man?
Yeah, it definitely gives you hype for, I think, a real battle coming up. We never really seen like a real action-packed battle, and now we got that coming up. When I saw the three went in and 1 died, I didn't think of their squad. I thought of like a previous squad from their school or rival school went in and 1 died, which also confirms the Naruto reference is true. I guess is every squad a 3-man squad with a teacher.
Get off Naruto, Onix. Only I'm allowed to reference them. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking.
Very, very true. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking with us through episode 3. And we are going to switch over right into episode 4, which is called Cursed Womb Must Die. It's very evident at the ending of the previous episode that there's an issue at this juvenile detention center. And this is how episode 4 begins. We have the squad showing up at the juvenile detention center, which is shut down. There's some what looks like police officers, maybe correctional officers that are there. They've shut the place down. And you also have a meeting with Ijichi-san. And so we get a lot of explanation right at the beginning of this episode, which is great because, again, this is a necessary part of any anime starting out. And we need to get some more and more information so that we can understand what the heck is JuJuTsu Kaisen, what are the curses, what's the storyline, all of these things. So this discussion is pretty good with Ijichi-san. And one of the first things he talks about is the window. Goke, do you know what a window is?
Yeah, a window is something that you look out of. It's in cars and houses. Oh, you meant in the actual anime. Okay, this guy. Yeah, so a window is somebody who can see a curse, but they can't use jujutsu. So it's just like, hey guys, I see it over there. I see dead people. Okay, go fight it. They don't really they can't use jujutsu. Yeah, so that's what a window is.
Thank you for your expert analysis. I appreciate that, sir. I will also add Ijichi-san. I loved his explanation of the different categories and the different levels of curses. Oh man, like literally this level, wooden bat, you're good. Next level, if you got a pistol, you'll be doing all right. Next level, shotgun. Next level, tank. And the special curse, which is also the thing that literally possesses our boy Yuji, is in a whole different category. It's like a special category. So I was rolling on the floor laughing. I really enjoy these funny little comedic throw-ins into these episodes. They're really timed really well, and yet they're still informative as they go through. So that's really great. It's apparent now that they are dealing with a pretty serious issue. Their orders are not, let me repeat, not to kill the curse or to exorcise it or anything. They are only supposed to go in, get a count of the inmates that were not evacuated, and basically dip out. That's it. If they can save them, sure, but that's it. It's just it's just like reconnaissance. Go in, check it out, see if anybody's alive, get them out, don't fight the thing, the end. So very, very clear. In the middle of this, when they're getting ready to go in, you have a woman come running up, and she is trying to get past these officers that are blocking the way, and she's yelling out, my son is in there. Goke, what did you think about that? Her son being inside. I mean, it's a juvenile detention center. So the statement from the lady, did that have any impact on you?
No, it didn't have any impact on me, but the way it affected Yuji, that's what it was. And actually, it did affect all of them. Well, it affected Nobara too, because Yuji was really affected by it. He was just like, oh man, we got to go in and we got to save these guys. And then it cuts to Nobara and she's like, yeah, we got to do that. And then it cuts to Fushiguro, and then it just sees his face and it's just like, okay. But though Nobara and Yuji were affected by it. So, they're wanting to go in there and really save this guy, her son, as well as everybody else. So in that way, it affected me. And again, it shows that Nobara and Yuji do have this.
Yeah, Goke, man. Good point on that. I wanted to throw in another part that I saw on that. You talked about the mother's emotions. Normally, I wouldn't really go over it. It was, as you stated, it didn't really affect me heavily, but I did think about it later on. And they talk about what adds to a curse's power. And I think this was the perfect example of somebody that's technically adding to the power of the curse, right? Because it's a juvenile detention center. They've alluded to us many a time that it's human emotions that build up a curse. And so this is the perfect area. And the mother coming and breaking down, falling to her knees, crying for her son who's still in the jail. I think that's a great example of how someone can inadvertently add to the power of a curse without even trying. So that's what I pulled out of that scene of the mother running up, even though it was short-lived, So at this point now they're dedicated. Everybody's, even Fushiguro, who's, kind of not emotionless, but he hides his stuff. They're all ready to go in, get the reconnaissance, see if anybody survived, and get them out. And as they're on the way in, they're still talking to Ijichi-chan. And now we get another insight on the veil. Goke, do you realize the importance of the veil?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna call back to Naruto again. Remember when Orochimaru attacks the Hidden Leaf, and remember they put the barriers around the Hokage when they're fighting. So again, I was thinking the same thing. Like, okay, we have the barriers, but no, yeah, it's important to protect the town. So that's essentially what they're doing, and it calls back to Bleach too, because in Bleach they did those types of barriers as well to protect the normal people from the battle that's about to go down. So this made me super hype again, because it's just like, okay, this is about to go down.
Yes.
Something's about to crazy happen.
Definitely maximum damage with, a shield. So you can really, like, you don't have to hold anything in. That's kind of the feeling I get. It's like, okay, now we have the octagon set up. Go to town, man. We're good from there. Next part, Fushiguro does something that gives me chills again. He summons a demon dog, and they're on their way in. Onix, man, pick me up there. He summons the demon dog. They're on the way. They go through the doors. What's going on?
Yeah, I thought that was definitely really smart by Fushiguro. Like, he summons the demon dog to the dog's going to let them know when the demon's, close by or nearby, so they can get a heads up and they can be ready. Their mission was to either run or die. So that was definitely smart. I thought it was crazy how, not even seconds later, the curse sealed away the entrance.
Yeah.
And it's like just a giant maze puzzle. It kind of reminded me of that Demon Slayer, the King of the Demon, where he has that crazy maze of dojos.
Yeah, going through one door and then you're like in another. Yeah, it's like trippy, man.
Yeah.
Super trippy. I love, of course, I got to always throw the jokes in. I'm rolling on the floor. It's one of the reasons I love the show so far. Yuji and Nobara, They're like, when the door disappears, they're like, they start dancing. Huh, what do we do? What do we do? Oh, they're dancing. Oh man, I want to shake the creator's hand. Dude, you're hilarious. Love that part. Rolling on the floor. Just thought it was great. Now we're going, so now they're inspecting, they're looking around, they're following the demon dog, and they find something pretty gruesome, aka like a pile of bodies, right? Big scene. Okay, gentlemen, we're gonna need to talk about this quite a bit. So they find, of course, the mother's son on the ground. Dude's arms, legs gone. They check out the name tag on his jumpsuit. They're like, yeah, this is the dude. And now we have an argument starting between Yuji and Nobara. Or I'm sorry, actually, no, it's not between Nobara. It's actually Yuji and Fushiguro. And they're actually talking about Yuji wants to, quote unquote, save this dead kid's body for the sake of the mother. And quite honestly, Fushiguro is like, this is not a joke. Like, that's not what we're here to do. They're dead, and there's an argument that starts. Next that comes up, let's just go with Onix, man. This is a huge scene. Tell me what goes on at this part when Yuji and Fushiguro are just kind of arguing about what should they do next.
Yeah, so Yuji, he's all about giving people the proper burial, the right path to death, and he wants to save the body of the mother's son, and he wants to carry the body and be able to give it to the mother so she has real evidence that, hey, her son did pass, here's the body, prove it, let's bury him and give him a proper death. But Fushiguro, he's thinking of it as more of like their safety first, which is totally fine too. He's like, hey, look, we don't have the time or energy to carry someone that's already dead out. Like, we're just going to try to save the people that we can save that are alive, and we're getting the heck out because this is beyond our level right now. These curses in here are way beyond us. And we're out there talking and arguing about this, the guard is down and a curse does strike, and it indirectly impacts Kugisaki because now she gets kidnapped by the curse. And then when Yuji and Fushiguro turn around to realize, what do you mean she got kidnapped by a curse? Why didn't our dog give us a heads up? The dog is like smashed into the wall, already done.
Man, broke my heart. I was so sad. I broke down. I'm off the mic. Take it from me, Goke. I can't handle it no more, man.
I got you, man. Go sit down and cry. So Fushiguro, we learned that this dude came in here not on the same page as Nobara and Yuji. He legit says we have to find and verify 2 more. He has no intention of saving anyone. He has zero intention of saving anyone. All he's there to do is find the 5 people, verify that they're there, and leave. That's the exact opposite of what Yuji wants to do. And it goes even further to when Fushiguro is like, dude, do you know where we are? We're in a juvenile detention center. Essentially, like, these people, this guy, Tadashi, the woman's son, is a second offender of driving without a license. And this second time he hit a child. He's like, dude, he's like, we're in a juvenile detention center. Essentially, he's alluding to, I don't care what happens to these people. They're bad. But the whole thing is, that's how we think of this society in general, too. Like, when we think about people that were in jail or in juvie, we automatically write them off. But what's the point of going to jail? What's the point of going to juvenile detention? It is to punish the person, but it's also to rehabilitate the person. So why do we even have these establishments if when they get out of jail, when they get out of juvenile detention, we put these labels on them like, oh, I don't care, they're in juvenile detention, they don't deserve to be saved. That's essentially what Fushiguro's saying, and that relates perfectly to the world, how convicts have really hard time getting jobs because they have a record. I mean, yeah, man. So I really appreciated that they did that and they showed this situation.
Mad shout out to Goke on that insight, and also to the writers and the creators. I mean, the country that we all currently live in, we're all Americans, United States, but these are gentlemen that have also lived extensively throughout Asia. Myself, also a world traveler. And Goke really gave a really great intro into that. The United States has the largest prison population in the world, and yet we don't have even necessarily the most criminals or even the highest population. So the United States criminal justice system and their penal system is just, it's pretty terrible and needs to be completely reformed. One of the best things you can look at before, trying to take you guys on the roller coaster ride. Europe has really quickly become the example to what the United States needs to do. Goke stated it perfectly. He said punishment versus rehabilitation. You have to look at the countries that are doing this, and they have done prison reform, because the way that they understand it is that when someone ends up in a prison or a jail, the idea is that they're still a part of society, that they made a mistake, and the idea is that they need to be rehabilitated so that they can be returning citizens and become productive members of society again. Fortunately, the United States doesn't see it this way. It's a lot more that we could talk about, but we overcrowd our jails. We even have privatization of prisons. And this scene in this anime from Japan it smacked it right in the face. It got it perfectly. Fushiguro quoted says, "But what are you going to do when someone you saved kills someone else in the future?" He's alluding to the boy, and actually with the animation, I don't know, he kind of was drawn to look more like a man to me, but it said he was 16, I think, but he looked like a grown man to me anyways. They're saying, he's saying literally, we don't want to save these inmates. What if they kill someone else on the way out? And this is where it's so deep. Yuji looks at him and says, "Then why did you save me?" Let that sink in. Yuji is possessed by what is potentially the most dangerous curse ever.
The
20
king of
fingers.
curses.
Imagine the power. He's only eaten one finger, right?
Two.
And he's
eaten two at this
two.
point.
Sorry, my bad. He's eaten 2 fingers, and Onix is going to talk about what happens in the rest of this fight. But I mean, come on. With 20 fingers, I don't even want to think about what he would be like. And I love that statement. Yuji just kind of slaps him in the face, and it's like, dude, people deserve to be rehabilitated. They do. And if you don't believe it, if you think about somebody else, but imagine if this person was a family member of yours, a brother, sister, your father. What about if it was you yourself? Do you deserve rehabilitation, or should we throw you away as well? This is a great topic to think about when it comes to humanity and everything like that going forward. So again, thanks for all the people that listen on this, and we're going to go ahead and move forward again. Goke, are you good on that? Prison reform? Onix, you good?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man.
All right.
That's what we do. We analyze things that's socially anime and relate it to real life. That's what we do.
There we go. Yes, sir. So after that, that kind of discussion, argument about what to do between Fushiguro and Yuji, like Onix mentioned earlier, Nobara disappears through a hole in the floor. And I have no clue where it goes at the point, but obviously it's pretty ominous. Then it goes back, and now you've got Yuji, Fushiguro facing each other, and all of a sudden there's a curse right there, and they're frozen in fear. And your boy Yuji, of course, he reaches for Slaughter Demon, the blade that Gojo Sensei gave him, pulls it out. He's able to get it out even though he's frozen in fear, and he slashes at this curse, and off goes his hand.
Woo! All that blood. That was crazy.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that was nuts. That was nuts.
Holy moly. I know we were probably referencing too much, but yo, Attack on Titan, when Eren was getting his leg bitten off, his arm bitten off, that's what I felt. And I'm like, yo, this dude just lost his hand. Is he never gonna get it back? What is going on here? I was like, the show is over. I lost my mind for like 3 seconds. I'm not gonna lie. One of my biggest questions, and if y'all don't know, I'm not actually expecting you guys to answer this, but why wasn't he yelling and screaming in pain? He just lost a hand.
He was in shock.
And
he was in shock.
You know what? You might be right about that, man, because that is a real thing. Somebody in shock may not. Yeah. Okay. Actually, that makes a little too much sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was shock and adrenaline. Like,
adrenaline. Yeah.
When your body gets so much pain right off the bat, your mind turns it off, and you don't even feel it until hours later when the situation around you calmed down.
That is way too true. So if anything, actually, yeah, I guess I don't have a complaint. That was a good depiction if somebody just lost a hand. Oh man, so that was really, really crazy. So you see the hand come off, and then it flashes over, and Fushiguro is not even there anymore. You're like, wait a second. At this point, he's falling down this, I don't even know what to call it. Like, he's just falling down this chute, I guess. And then he calls out a spell And now there's like a bird creature.
That joint
grabs-
was tight.
That was-
Dude, it's like again, I'm sorry. It's like a summoning jutsu. He's like,
Yeah.
Nue! That joint comes out and captures him.
Yeah,
Dude,
you're right.
it's
The
so
Nue spell, you're right.
dope, dude.
this
Man,
animal-
this guy summons all
Yeah,
the
so
animals.
that's
He's
about
so
what-
dope.
He's an animal master.
Onix, that's what I was getting ready to say, man. He's like, I think it's clear now that he's some animal summoner jujutsu. So I don't know. We're gonna figure it out as we go along. But I thought that was still bomb. I can't say I love Fushiguro's character, but I love the demon dogs. I love the Nue spell. Yeah. I love it so far. So now we switch over to your girl, Nobara, and she is now in some dark area. And to me, they look like porcelain masks or something. There's like dozens of them hovering around her, and she's like, okay, guess it's time to get going. She pulls out the nails, she pulls out the hammer, and now we zip out. We don't get a chance to see that battle, but it kind of explains itself as we go forward. At this point, Onix had mentioned it a little bit earlier. This is now going back to, well, how did Fushiguro even get out of there? How is he, where is he going? Why did he summon this bird thing? And really what happens is after losing his hand, Yuji and Fushiguro are discussing, dude, we are completely outmatched. We can't take this thing. We were never supposed to take this thing. We either do as we were told, literally flee, or we die. So they're trying to figure it out. And in the split second decision they make, they argue about this a little bit as well, but the decision is made. All right, Fushiguro, you go find Nobara, save her, and get the hell out of Dodge. Why, Onix, why in the world would Yuji tell Fushiguro to do that?
Yeah, Yuji's taking a big gamble on just going curse mode to fight this.
Curse mode.
Just to fight the special grade curse. And then he's hoping that, he can revert back after he defeats his curse and get the heck out of Dodge himself.
I love that you said that he's hoping, because that is so doggone true. I mean, yeah, he's taken control back from Sukura many times, but I don't know, man. It's like, it's not a guarantee. It's like, can you come back if you release this basically cursed demon again? So, I mean, my anxiety level was through the roof at this point, but kind of, we know we can't beat him in the form that we're in. So our only hope at this point is Sukuna. Yeah, so now we go back to Yuji. Yuji is fighting this special curse. It's not going well for him, is it, Goke?
Man, he's getting his butt handed to him. He's just losing at everything he does is pretty much worthless. Like, you can tell how much he's outclassed. Again, with the ratings of the different curses, this curse is the special curse. So essentially you would need a carpet bomb on the curse, like how they described it at the beginning of the episode.
Yes.
Dude, and this thing is like shooting energy blasts at him, that like super crazy yellow energy blast that it shot at him. The animation is tip top. Like, it goes back into like just tip top mode, man. The animation is amazing during this fight. But again, Yuji is just waiting for that signal to be able to switch on Sukuna, but it's just not helping, man. Dude, it's just nasty how bad this demon is just destroying him. Go ahead, Onix, come in here, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was just going to piggyback, like you said, like Yuji, everything he does is getting thrown in his face. That energy bomb, like, basically burned off his other hand. His fingers on his other hand just burned it off.
My fingers hurt at that part. His fingers like slowly disintegrating. Ay. And he's thinking, he's like, ow, ow, ow. He's helpless at this point. He's like, I can't win. I can't do, but I give Yuji a lot of credit. I think a lot of characters, and you guys back me up on this if I'm right on this. I'm not a big fan of the whiny kind of characters that are like, oh no, like life is over and I just suck and I can't do anything and I'm just gonna lose this fight. And he doesn't really get that way, in my opinion, at all.
I just think that, like, he definitely showed some real doubt. Like, he was really doubting himself on, why did I join? Why did I show up? Like, I'm about to, like, potentially die right now because I'm not going to get the signal in time to switch into demon mode, or my curse mode.
Yeah, he was like, the whole time he's like, I want to run.
Yes. Oh, definitely. But of course, the hero, can never run. Onix, let's go. Let's upgrade. Let's go to Super Saiyan level 2. Let's go to this secondary fight. The first fight, it didn't go so well. But as you mentioned, he's waiting for this sign from Fushiguro. And all I know is, oh, okay. I hear one of the demon dogs howling. Onix, take it from there, man. What is that signal for? Bam.
Yeah, honestly, they didn't even talk about what the signal is going to be. He just said, "Hey, I'll give you some type of signal that you'll know when to go into curse mode," and it was just the dog howling. That was his signal that he caught onto and said, "All right, that's the signal. Curse mode is on." And before he even went back to curse mode, and before the signal came, like he was having the doubts. It went back to the flashback of him meeting the principal and him finding his purpose to give him the strength to go. And then he started, turning up a bit. He finally got the signal, and the battle just completely reversed. Now the special grade curse is afraid of Yuji, and it's just it's a complete 180, man.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely. And that's hilarious, man. I'm cracking up because yes, you're right. The curse is looking at him like, oh snap. The dynamics change 180%. And this reminds me of literally episode 2, when your boy Gojo Sensei shows up and just changes the whole demeanor. I mean, it was like life or death. Then Gojo Sensei shows up. Now it's like a joke. It's like funny. Goke, did you get that feeling? He like goes Super Saiyan almost. Tell me about that, man.
Yeah, man. He's mocking the crap out of this curse, man. And he's like, okay, like I want to kill Fushiguro. All right, let me go ahead and team up with this guy with this curse here. And he's like, okay, let's team up. But the curse is just so adamant on trying to beat him, but he is just like, okay, he just annihilates this guy, man. It's so funny, and he's so lighthearted about it too.
It was honestly, so funny. Oh, go ahead, Onix.
Yeah, I was just saying, honestly, that was my favorite part, was that when Yuji went in curse mode, he wanted to team up with a special graded curse so they can get out and kill his teammates, and then he can the curse, kind of control his body more, take control over his mind more. But the special grade curse was so fluttered. I don't think it was really thinking. It just got desperate and started throwing attacks out, pissing off curse mode. So curse mode was like, all right, I'm just going to get rid of you in a second then.
100%. My favorite part of that whole battle was the regeneration, right? So he automatically heals the fingers on his right hand, which makes sense because he probably needs them to be able to defeat this curse. But then later on, he regenerates the left hand, and he's like, dang it. He's like, did I regenerate this too? Which is hilarious because he's alluding to Yuji, like he's trying, as you guys have been describing, he's trying to like make it a living hell for Yuji, but he already regenerated the hand. He's like, dang it, why'd I do that?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm cracking up about that.
It's the beginning relationship stage of Naruto and the Nine Tails.
Right. Okay, so basically, he tries to come up with all these plans. Sukuna is like, how can I kill this thing and also kill he's trying to plan out these nefarious things. And essentially, the curse makes the mistake of trying too hard. And he decides to use something that is called domain expansion, malevolent shrine. Would one of you gentlemen please explain to me what in the world is a domain expansion, malevolent shrine? And do I want to see that?
Yeah, dude, when he did that hand signal or whatever, the hand weaving, it was just like one simple hand weave. And it sliced this curse into like 5 different pieces. And like essentially Sukuna couldn't even control it. He's like, man, I was only trying to slice you in 3 pieces or something like that. But dude, Sukuna is dope. But also it just makes me think Gojo Sensei is even more powerful than him. So it's just it's pretty interesting. But yeah, going back to this fight, man, that move was crazy.
No, curse mode could handle it. He could handle the jutsu because he's the one that created the jutsu back in the day. The reason why he didn't slice the special graded curse in 3 slices was because he overestimated the special grade curse, because he said, damn, I thought I was trying to slice you in 3 pieces, but you're weaker than I thought, and you came out in like 5.
Oh yeah. That's what it was.
He
Yeah,
put a
but
little
And then
too
he
much
pulls
power
out.
into it, huh?
yeah, basically what I got from that curse mode was all these One Piece fans. It was like when you awaken your devil fruit, when you use awakening powers with your devil fruit. That's basically how I saw it.
Nice. So definitely, I mean, the battle is pretty one-sided at this point. He just demolishes, and yeah, you guys made a great reference with Gojo Sensei, because Gojo Sensei already fought him and made him look like a baby. So man, we're starting to see these power rankings that are just so far beyond Yuji or even Fushiguro or Nobara at all.
Yeah, and didn't even Gojo Sensei even say when he was talking to Yuji, he said, yeah, even if you had the full power of curse mode, like I'll probably still win.
He did say that, yeah, man. And I thought initially it was cocky, but then later on, he's not really cocky. He's just kind of being honest. He's like, yeah, dude, like, I'm the strongest. Yeah, I mean, I'll take him out.
Yeah, he's confident in his craft and his skill, which
There
isn't
you
necessarily a bad thing.
Perfect way to explain it. At this point, we get a nice little short scene. Ijichi-san, we know that Fushiguro, Nobara, they've made it out. You know, they're taking care of Nobara. She's not doing too well, but you know, Fushiguro did help get her out, so they're out safe. But we still have one first-year student that's in there. And after your boy Sukuna destroys and just demolishes this curse, he's like, all right, come on, Yuji, like, take back over. Like, you got it, man.
Oh, remember, he pulls out a finger. He pulls out one of his fingers from the curse. Remember that?
Yeah, actually, great point, man. Yeah, he does. He pulls that out. And did any of y'all expect that? I sure didn't. I never thought once in my head that the curse in the juvenile detention center could somehow be tied to one of the fingers. So that was one of the like hands on my cheeks, like, oh my God, moments. I didn't know that would be one of the fingers.
Hands on your cheeks. Pause. What the heck does that even mean?
Palms to your cheeks, man.
Pause. Pause.
Palms to your cheeks? What'd I say? You think I'm talking about my butt?
Nah, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting the finger or what Kuma just said about hands to his cheeks.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
I wasn't expecting myself to say that. So I agree with both of you on that one. So essentially, this is the end of episode 4. We have seen that there are forces far beyond the skill level of our protagonist. And at the same time, we're seeing some team building, some discussion making, you know, some critical decisions when, you know, everything is up for grabs. And then we end on this understanding that, you know, Yuji is great, but he kind of had to depend on Sukuna to save him in this instance. And now it doesn't seem like Yuji can get control back.
I saw it totally different, man. Like I see Sukuna telling Yuji to take back over his body because I think Curse Mode has a plan to, hey, I'm just going to let Yuji take over right here. He has no idea how to get out or how to find the exit, and he's just going to end up dying by more Curse Mode, by more special graded curse. But I thought Yuji didn't revert back because he knows he can't survive there, and he doesn't know where the exit is. So I think he's trying to play the long game. And then at the very end, right before the episode ended, something approached Curse Mode that was, I think, super high up, like super powerful, because the way he kind of was like, what's behind me? He quickly turned around, and that face of like excitement and surprising, like, dude, I think we're about to see another super like OP special graded curse.
I was just thinking the exact opposite. I was just thinking that he was just like, all right, Yuji, go ahead and take over, just like you always do. You always put me back to sleep. But the look that he gave at the end, I thought was like a mischievous look, like, ooh, I'm about to do some crazy stuff in this city now. That's what I thought.
You know, and this is actually exactly why we do podcasts, because guys, honestly, I don't know the answer. I have no clue, but I love that I now have 2 different possibilities out of many that could go forward. One side, we've got Goke saying, you know, maybe Yuji lost control. Maybe he can't get it back. And Sukuna knows that, and he's getting, you know, like, I'm about to do some stuff. And then, like Onix said, hey, maybe there's actually another curse. Maybe you thought that was the special curse, but maybe there's something else. Maybe there's more to it. But that's exactly what keeps us watching anime going forward. Gentlemen, quick summaries.
I'm definitely a lot hooked on it than I was after our last podcast. I think the first two episodes, obviously, they try to ease you in, and you kind of gotta, you gotta sit down and you gotta hear out the story. You gotta get used to the setting, stuff like that, etc. And they had some fights, but it wasn't really high up fights. They finally introduced some big time fights, I think, and some big time moments. And the thing that I really liked, that really intrigued me, was all the world itself of Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, we learned that there's an order of power to our heroes. Kind of like in Naruto, you got the Genin, Junins, Anbu Black Ops type of guys. And here, it's like you got these rookies, first class, second year, third year students, and now you got like a sorcerer who's like their team leader. And then same with the curses. They're graded off of the special chart plus with their intelligence. Like, I think that's what really got me going. It opened up my world a little bit more on Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm definitely interested in seeing what it has to offer.
All right, nice. Yeah, no, you're completely right on all those. Definitely, it's developing a lot more, rising up into battles. Goke, what about you? You still liking it? Did it go down for you? What did you?
I'm still liking it, man. Everything. I'm still hyped. I'm still super excited. I can't wait till episode 5 and to see what like Sukuna's going to do, because now he has control. So it's gonna be dope, man. I can't wait.
Couldn't agree.
Does he have control though?
Does he have control? Great question. Yeah, definitely, gentlemen. I'm hyped. I'm not gonna lie. I loved it also going forward. I love your insights as usual. And this is just even more reason for any viewers to, tune back in for our next podcast coming out next week. We're going to be going over episodes 5 and 6. And I'm going to pass the baton over to your boy Goke, sir.
Yep, that's right. Socially Anime, we are out. Thanks again for sticking all around for episode 3 and 4. Remember to hit that like button if you liked anything that we had to say. And if you want to comment on anything we had to say, go ahead and drop us a comment in the comment section below. Also, we have a Facebook fan page. What? Check us out on Facebook. Look for Socially Anime. Join that community. We're posting some good stuff over there. And with that, we will see you next week. Peace.